Hi, Mike's Carburetor Parts here. I'm doing this video on a Carter BBD 2-barrel solid fuel type of carburetor. This is the 1.5 inch type, I believe. This particular carburetor fits something like 1964 to 70-ish. I've done other BBD videos. This one just a little bit different, so I thought I'd go ahead and do this one too. We'll get started taking this apart here in just a second.
Why did you buy your carburetor kit from Mike's Carburetor Parts?
Because when I run into a problem, Mike's is there to help with technical information. Nobody else does that.
Okay, so here we go. First thing we need to do is take off the linkage so that we can get this thing apart. I would suggest that when you're taking yours apart, take a lot of digital pictures, especially on the linkage. It's always been something that I've had to do. I've had to refer back to my pictures to see which way the linkage goes. They're all so much different. They can get real complicated. Yeah, I'm going to put this screw in here just so I know where they go when we put it back together. So we're taking the choke pull off. When you get this off, you want to put some vacuum on the end and hold the vacuum and make sure that the pull off is actually pulling in. If it's not, replace it. Notice that a couple of these linkages have a little small washer that goes on before you put the cotter pin or some other clip to hold it on. That's just to take up the slack. If you didn't have that washer, it would still work, but it'd be nice to have the washers there. That's all they are, just a little flat washer. Okay, we're going to take the pump arm off now. never know if these are going to be left-handed or right-handed screws. I think some of the older Strombergs are right-handed threads. It always throws me off. So that's what. Now watch carefully on the parts for the accelerator pump. You got that big washer there, and that's to take up slack and keep the gas from splashing out. Yeah, we're going to take the top off now. Now sometimes the screws will differ in length and even size depending on where they're going. So think about keeping your screws together. So like all the bowl screws you'd put in one place. Now there's going to be a couple bowl screws here that are really long, but still it's going to be pretty obvious where they go when you put it back together. But keep your screws together in bunches, and it'll just be that much less to figure out down the road. That's the long one I was talking about. These hold the top, the bowl, and the throttle body together. Lots of linkage. Don't throw your gaskets away until you know that the new ones are going to fit good. Make sure. There's a pump. We call it the flat stem pump, and it's got the spring that goes over the pump and the retainer on the top. And that was a clip for the floats, and that splash guard just keeps the fuel from splashing places where you don't want it to go. And you got to take the needle and seat out in order to take the float out. There's a check ball down there at the bottom. Now there's two check balls in this carburetor. Let's see, that's the bigger of the two. That's the what you call the intake, actually, intake check ball. Now these venturi screws are hollow. You can't just replace them with any screw. The gas comes up through them, and that's the venturi. Okay, that's actually in two pieces. Okay, so there's a check ball right there in the main discharge, and that's the smaller of the two check balls. So easy to get them mixed up, easy to lose. You'll get in our kits we have new ones for you. So there's a metering rod. This particular version of the BBD, these metering rods and piston, power piston, I guess you'd call it, is operated purely by vacuum. Some are mechanical. The later ones, they use both vacuum and mechanical. So these are just strictly vacuum. So when you go to clean that, you want to make sure that piston can go up and down freely. You don't want anything catching, or you won't get any power. Metering rods fit in the main jets, which I'm taking out now. Now these main jets are taller than most of the carders. I don't think we have these jets. I don't think they're available. So be careful with it. You don't normally have to change the jets. And I was saying the metering rods fit in there fairly loosely, so they don't fit tight. If they fit too tight, they just cut off the gas completely. So as you speed up and lose vacuum, the metering rods are pulled out of the jets and allows more fuel to go through. Take out the idle mixture screws. Inspect them, make sure that the ends or the taper part doesn't have any grooves in it, and that's caused by people tightening them way too tight. You don't want them bent. So that's pretty much it. Now we'll do a second video on putting it back together. So clean it up.